And crime and violence must stop.
Yeah, man, people, thanks for tuning back again, man. Thanks for tuning back again. Yeah, good morning, good day. Yeah, the morning inside is here. Yeah, Gold Cup group stage, here we go. That's where we're going. That's where we're heading in the summer. Yeah, man. Thank God, we are in the Gold Cup. Yeah, man, we are in the Gold Cup group stage, and we kick on from here. I think this break is going to be a much needed break in the summer. Before I really get there, look, big up to the Reggae BOYZ, big up to the fans and turn out to support the boys on the pitch. They gave them a little bit of what they could have. I think the fans could have done a little bit better in terms of being that 12 man from the stand. But it is what it is. It is Jamaica. We won 3-0. Clean sheet. But Steve McLaren answered the calls. Yes, Steve McLaren answered the calls, and he brought Ronaldo, Cephas and WANER in the lineup. So kudos for him. A couple of things need to address moving forward. But let's get into it. This is my little match reaction of what happened yesterday. I was feeling a little bit worried. St. Vincent, I could understand why I was feeling a little bit worried, because those moments that the VINCENT team created, by with the set piece in that first half, it was a little bit, it was a worrying sign to us. And I must say, moving forward, we need to address these stuff on the training pitch a little bit more. Look, teams that depend on set piece, depend on their big fellas to get in the box and try to win duels. We cannot give up cheap free kicks away any near in our defensive third, and we have done that a lot of time in the game last night. And moving forward, coming to the World Cup qualifier, it's not going to be a major point against those Central American teams, but the only team in Central America might give us some problem, and with the set piece, it will be Panama, because they are a lot more physical, they are more bigger. But if we meet any other Caribbean team, definitely we will be going through those challenges again and going through those paces. But overall, I think it was the players really turned out. They did react. They're more proactive in the first 15 minutes. Different from the scare that Vinci gave us in the couple of the moments that they create by hitting their set piece and target. But the team come up with that energy, come out with a vibe. You could see that the team come up with a little bit of instructions, and these are the stuff that we are talking about. You could see a slight of pattern of how the players want to move forward, or they want to close down the Vinci, or they nullify them, down our right hand side when they're coming down on their left hand side. So they kind of nullify them, the Anderson and those players over there, they didn't really get much into the game. They didn't find the space and the time that they had in that first leg, so kudos to Steve McLaren for that. And this Vinci team, they kind of they did their part defensively and attacking it. They try, but defensively they try to keep Cephas away from getting 1v1. Every time when he picked up the ball wide left, it's always 2v1, 3v1. So they have done their homework just as how we have done the homework. So this is what will happen in games when you play at two-legged games, especially that first leg. It's similar to what Cavalier and Inter Miami played. Mascherano found out what the Cavalier team is good at and what their weaknesses are and what they don't like and what they like. And the same thing that we have done, Vince have done it, but we have much more high quality players, so we kind of get away with a lot of stuff. But the defensive line, not much, to deal with. Again, Pinnock, when they had to defend, they defend. Richard King, when they had to defend, they defend. But I would just say, position wise, the position awareness for Richard King, it will get better over time. Dexter Lemekisa, he was much better on the football in that first leg. He was much better, more aggressive in the final third in that first leg. But yesterday, it was a little bit more of a, conserve his energy, stay back a little bit, watch that Vinci team, especially because that's the dangerous wing that they did a lot of work on in that first leg. So I could understand why he didn't really get much forward, and why he didn't try to take enough risk and get out of position, because they're very deadly down that left hand side. Disappointed not to see Christopher injured down that left hand side. I think at times, Joe Latibody kind of crippled the attack a few times. He cramped the space inside. I think he was trying to play, as a left inverted wingback, but I think he's trying to get inside a little bit too early. A lot of times you see him get in the way of the Bobby Reed and the Isaac Yaden. He kind of clogged up the channel of where even a Ethan Pino would just sling the ball from the defensive line, go all the way up to the wing on the ground. So he kind of cramped it. But the few times that he got, the few times he get to go that overlap, try to create that extra space for Ronaldo Cephas to go down the wing or cut inside. Ronaldo Cephas actually get the ball into the box or kick the ball and target or keep and just kick the ball and the goal. So we didn't really get much of that. I think Christopher Angel would have been a better player. He would have give us much more attacking plays down that left hand side. But why not give the youngster a shot? Again, Steve McCarron went for experience. It was a critical game. You can understand that, but at least he could have just bring the youth off the bench. I would love to see Christopher Angel get his full competitive debut for the Reggae BOYZ. The midfield, I think Isaac Yaden ticked off the box really well as a CDM. What you ask him for from a CDM, break up plays, set the tempo, push the ball through the lines, drive with the football when there's an open space. And I think he have done that really well, especially he had around 3 to 4 times where he just drive the football into the defensive third. He has time when he broke up the play, he have time when he start the play, setting the tempo, a few passes with Bobby Reed in that central department. So he have done his work. But if you ask me, he's a high quality player. He's very good at what he's doing. But as soon as he's getting more games, more high quality games, he will start to feel his way in the CONCACAF region. Coming up against higher quality team, I guess his standard will rise. And I think only thing I could ask him for, rise his standard a little bit, because when he come up against the Panama, when he come up against the Costa Rica teams that's very strong in that department, he will going to have a lot of work to do. So getting into the groove, it's only get better. Bobby Reed, to me, I think probably you could easily give him man of the match. A lot of people write him off in that first leg. And I was like, yo, listen, Bobby Reed is one of our most, you would say more consistent player, giving us a performance. Just do what you need to do on the football pitch. Just focus on what you need to do so the team can do better. And Bobby Reed have done that excellent. He went in the back line, played as a third defensive player in that center half position, dropped in between Pinnock and Richard King, collecting the ball, moving the ball forward, spreading the ball wide, pushing the ball through the lines. He's pressing, he's closing down, he's covering, for his teammates. So he have done everything that he have asked for as a number 8. He was going box to box, but love to see him, getting more late runs in the box, get a few shot off a few times, test the goalkeeper. But he have done exactly what he needs to do for us to get that 3 points. But I'm going to another player. Demar Gray is worrying. It's it's big time worrying for us. Going into the World Cup qualifier game, against BVI and Guatemala, and then the World Cup, I think those games that's coming up, Demar Gray need to get his act for the Reggae BOYZ in this summer coming up, because since the Copa America, he have been rubbish. And we are asking for a winger to play as a number 10. I don't think that will work. He's holding on to the football too much. When you come up against a team that's playing on a difficult low block, sitting tight, not giving much space away, and you're asking for a number 10 to open the channels, someone that going to always want to dribble, someone that going to always want to get more touches on the football, not react or be more proactive or try to break down the defensive line as quick as possible. Play the football a lot more precise and a lot more energy and intensity. And Demar Gray is not fit. I'm sorry, but he's just not fit. He's not doing the up and down running. He's just jogging around in that number 10 position, and it just cannot work. his work off the ball, it's poor. I could see why Bobby Reed was doing so much running in that midfield. Isaac Eden was doing so much running because Demarai Gray wasn't doing anything at all in that midfield. But Ronaldo Cephas, look, if he can share the glory a little bit more, just bring his teammates a little bit more in play. But again, the team kind of nullified him a little bit. He was trying. He got his goal. He have done what he needs to do. But when you ask him for him to just share the glory, I think he needs to work on that. I'm not worrying about Ronaldo Cephas end product. You want players, you want wingers, and for a winger to get himself in dangerous position, that's what you want. And he's going to score a goal. Yeah, yes, you would love his end product to get a little bit better, but he's getting himself into dangerous position, and that's what you asking for a winger. Cephas as a winger is getting in more dangerous position as Leon Bale, who is a winger himself. Leon, I think trying too hard, trying to beat his players, is 1v1 pair, didn't really work. But what you have to give him credit for his final passes, it was really good. And if you ask me stats wise, I think he had a goal and an assist over the 2 leg. Can he build on this foundation? Can he get going? Can he look at the positive? Some very key passes in the game, especially in that second leg. You have done it also in the first leg, and you have done it more in that second leg. So can you look back on that as a positive and march on and move it on and start to say, this is the time that I need to kick on? He got a goal, much needed goal that he really needed in that first leg, and he had an okay game in terms of his delivery, just releasing the football. And time we have seen Leon releasing the football. Is it too late? Is it sloppy or too early? No, his final passes, it was much better over the last 2 games. WANER answered the call. Yeah, Shamar, Big Bows and Nicholson. Yeah, what a game. Yeah, Shamar Nicholson played his best game, and it was on the bench by Steve McLaren. Yeah man, Shamar Nicholson have played his best game in a Reggae BOYZ shirt, where he sat on the bench for 90 minutes. Wonderful for WANER when he took his opportunity. You could see a player shooting that football. He's on farm. He know exactly where the football is. He know exactly where the goal is located on the pitch. Yeah, you don't have to look 2, 3, 4 times. Once you look up and see where the goalkeeper was, you know exactly where he's going to put that football. And if you look at him, that's a player who is in form. That's a player who is fit. Unfortunately, he picked up a little knock, in the back end of the first half. Hopefully, he's okay, because Arnett Garden, me as a junglist, we will need him, for the rest of the season. Yeah, but for a player, I think he has scored a 20, I think 19 goals. But I have said this, last season. Yeah, he has scored 2 goals last season for Arnett Garden. This is a player I've exposed to European football. I've exposed to lower league, football in the US. This player is a very good player. There is a player in him, there's potential in him. He only need the moment, to deliver. And can this be the moment? Those 2 games that he played in Kingston and in Kingston, over the 2-legged, will WANER be on the plane? Will those 2 games reward WANER on the plane in the Gold Cup? And I think WANER should be on that plane. It doesn't matter what. Even if CONCACAF said 23-man squad, I would love to see the JFF walk with at least a 30-man squad, because we're going to need them September, October and November. Players will deport a farm, players will get suspension, players will be unavailable. Can we walk with a 30-man squad in that Gold Cup and bring players like WANER, if we're going to get extra players that is waiting for passport and all that, etc. But what I must say, Kyle Dixon, oh my God, Steve McLaren, what is it that Kyle Dixon can't even play 15 minutes over a 2-legged game? Yeah, you could see the impact, like the interest, the willingness and the effort is always put in. Look at what he have done with that Leon Bale pass, just to get back that ball in to the box so Cephas can get on the end of it to score. That is an effort after leading 2-0. He could have easily made the ball go and say, oh, me not stretch out my hamstring. You understand? So just the effort, you know, Kyle Dixon just need to get more game time under his belt. Every time when he go on the pitch, people have to. Me don't know what is it that every time when Kyle Dixon, you know, goes on the pitch, he always leave a moment for the fans to say, hey, Kyle Dixon did that. Hey, Kyle Dixon did that. You know, so Kyle Dixon, young promising player, but you know, I'm just happy that we got the win. I'm happy that we are in the group stage after World Cup. I'm happy that WANER got the goal. I'm happy that the two players got, you know, the biggest impact off the bench in the first leg, got their reward. You know, they got the start and they also paid off their trust, you know, for the manager. And you know, you have to reward, you know, McLaren for, you know, his trust to put those players in, you know. But I think, you know, substitution wise, game management, it needs to get better. It needs to get better. Look, this team is far from qualifying for our World Cup. Yeah, we need a lot of work to put in. Yeah, the winner that's coming up, you know, for the World Cup qualifiers and the World Cup, we need to use this summer as a pre-season, because this will be Steve McLaren, you know, first time getting, you know, to be alongside the players for more than 2-3 weeks, because it will be a long summer. Yeah, because September, October again, you know, November is going to be a crucial one in this calendar window for the Reggae BOYZ. But can Steve McLaren make this to be the turning point in the board? I could understand. I see the team come out with a lot of different details. It was, you know, could see that the team was instructed to do certain things. So that's what we're asking for. So things need to get better, but we can't get everything, you know, in a rush. You know, it have to be step by step. But yeah, that's it, man. You know, for the morning inside of here, you know, thanks. So passing through again. Remember, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bless up on yourself, people. Yeah, the Reggae BOYZ are true. Yeah, man. But one thing, Damian Lowe, I thought Damian Lowe would have started, but you know, he came off the bench. You know, after, you know, on standby, called up by McLaren, you know, emergency, you know, to plug a hole in. And you know, I was expecting Damian Lowe to start, but again, Richard King played really well. But Cephas is pushing Damari Gray. Yeah, man. Cephas and Ked. We need, look, just like how BOYZ can hold the bench, Shaman, you know, just like BOYZ hold the bench, Damari Gray need to hold the bench as well. Yeah, man, we need to start put Damari Gray on the bench. That's where he belongs at this moment. He's not giving us nothing, no end product. When Damari Gray does come to the door at Kingston and playing for the Reggae BOYZ, you get the wow factor. You always get a wow factor from him. But since recently, he has been dumb. He's hiding. Yeah, man, he might mess up the place. Yeah, everywhere he walk, you can smell him boots, bottom, stink. He's not putting in any performance. And when he's not putting in any performance, he's not even pressing. He's not giving the effort. He's not willing to, you know, get at the end of things, work hard for the teammates. He's not doing any of that. So I guess, you know, look, if we play tough team like Panama who love to run at the football, it will be a liability with Damari Gray playing as a number 10. I tell you that he's not the man for the number 10 position. Yeah, but yeah, man, thanks for watching. You know, this is Nicardo Media House with the morning inside of video. Bless up on yourself. You know, catch you guys again. I'm out.